telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On the show this morning, Team Nigeria gained top spot at African Senior Championship. Former Ego star turns professional golfer and in football, Georgia set new record at Euros 2024. Details of this and many more will be yours when we come back from this short time. And please don't go anywhere. Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on
All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Talk here, and Manuel Michael joins on the show today.
Yeah, good morning, Tempo, and good morning to our viewers out there.
All right, and let's, of course, get started with athletics this morning as the National Youth Games, announcement. The Sports Minister has announced the date for this year's National Youth Games. The man who's at the helm of the Sports Ministry, John Owen Eno, yesterday announced September 10th to 21st as the date for the edition of the Games. Asabadeta, which hosted the last edition, will still retain the hosting right of the Games. It looks like the Sports Ministry will not rest in terms of preparation for anything athletics, and this is how it should be.
Definitely, I think our athletes, they need this kind of consistency in terms of taking part in one championship or the other to keep themselves going. And I think Delta State as well has also proven over time that indeed they've been able to maintain the momentum. They have what it takes to also host this very one, and that is why they are always favored, because in terms of organizational structure, they are top They are top there in terms of security-wise. They are also there. And also for me, I think it's a great one, seeing that consistency of championship is one key area that we cannot also overemphasize because it also helps the athletes to keep themselves in shape, because when you are taking part in one or two competition or championship, it also helps you to gain mastery of the game as well, and to help you improve in different areas of the game. And that is for me very, very fundamental if we must maintain the consistency and the rise that we've seen from our Nigerian athlete so far. I think it's a great one going forward for me.
It's a great one going forward, and of course we get to see how far it goes, and I can tell you for sure that a lot of preparation for that one. The data set, of course, we said the last time they retained the hosting rights, and I can tell you that a lot of preparation. There are records that we need to scroll to see how far. Delta State emerged as the winners of last year's games with 116 medals. That is 51 gold, 34 silver, and 31 bronze medal. And Lagos came second with 21 gold, 19 silver, and 21 bronze medal. Away from that, let's talk about the senior athletics championship that just ended in Douala, and our women's 4x400 meter squad will not be participating at the Paris Olympic Games despite blazing to the gold medal at the final day of the African Championship. This is unfortunate because the essence of participating, not just about reclaiming their prize, but about also mounting their name at Paris Olympics, and that was not achieved.
It wasn't achieved. Well, I think for me very disappointing, despite clinching gold medal in that very one. But then I think their returning time was the issue. They could not, return, in a very decent time, and that would have seen them qualify for the Paris Olympic game. And that is clearly telling us that indeed we need to do a lot. A lot is not done in that area, and for me, I think it's quite disappointing. You can't just win gold medals yet you are not eligible, you are not qualified for the Paris Olympic game because of the timing of the return of our athlete couldn't meet up with the standard or the benchmark of the Paris Olympic game qualification. I think for me it's quite disappointing, not just for the fact that we could not even finish within the Olympic sport, but then for the fact that we were unable to at least maintain top spot out there, though we made a very good finishing out there by finishing within the podium. But then I think taking a look at the quality of athlete that represented us in this 6 days event, you expect Nigeria to come top in that very one, but then I think it was quite disappointing. We just were able to win just 5 gold medals out of a 40 contingent, or a Nigerian athlete have went there to represent us. Only 5 gold medals to show for it, and majorly those gold medals, you may want to say that is the female counterpart that were able to rack up about 4 gold medals. So for me, it looks as though the male counterparts of our athletes need to do a lot. That is just the truth. But then again, going back to the crux of the matter is that we won gold medal at the last day of the event, but then the timing wasn't good enough for us to qualify for the Paris Olympic game. And I think for me it's quite sad and quite disappointing, because that should have been an added advantage for us if we should have clinched that ticket for the 4x400 meter relay race. It would have been a nice one, but then we could not make it. I think for me, like I said, not encouraging, so disappointing for me.
Not encouraging, so disappointing, and we hope that they'll make up for that one. The quartet of Ella Onojevo, Patience Okon, Esther, Elo, Joseph, and Omolara Ogunma Kinju at the clock the time of 3 minutes 27.31 seconds to reclaim their championship title, which they lost to South Africa 2 years ago in Mauritius. Despite their outright victory against PS rival Botswana and Zambia, they won't be participating in Paris as they needed to run faster than Cuba's 3 minutes 26.08 seconds. Currently occupying the last qualifying spot on the world list at 16th. And Nigeria is now out of 2 relay events at the Olympics, so will depend on the mix 4x400 meter women's 4x100 and men's 4x400 to win a medal in Paris. Meanwhile, Chinecherem Prosper brings down the curtain raiser on Team Nigeria out at the African Championship in Douala, winning a silver medal in the men's javelin throw. They produced a best time of 79.22 meters, finishing behind Julius Yego, who threw 80.24 meters. Mustafa Mahmoud was third with 77.25 meters. And at the end of the 6 days of competition at the start, the Jupama in Douala, the Nigeria secured 5 gold, 6 silver, and 4 bronze medals to finish second behind South Africa. Kenya, that won the last edition, came third. Nigeria finishing third on the overall medals table at the 2022 edition held in Port Louis, Mauritius, which for me is good that we at least we came top in this particular one. You have the likes of South Africa and others. For me, that's the best thing. Getting to win, coming first shows that we have, take a stand. We're taking our stand now in terms of sporting activity, which for me is not bad, regardless of the outcome. Though, unfortunately for those who are unable to pick, the Paris Olympic, but it will be reckoned with our name to say in the last edition held in Douala, Nigeria topped the overall medal table.
Yeah, for me, I think some other person might be satisfied with the outcome of Nigeria's finishing, but I think for me personally, I'm not too satisfied for we playing the third fiddle, where we should be dominating, topping the medals log out there. I think it's not acceptable for a country such as South Africa to be taking the lead while we are playing the third fiddle. It doesn't show the fact that we are African giant. It doesn't show the fact that most of our athletes have come a long way. It doesn't show the fact that at least, if not for any other thing, but for this season alone, our athletes have been in form on the top of their games, and they took that form down to the national trial here in the country before jetting out to the to Douala, Cameroon. So I expected us to build on the gain, to build on the positive of the fact that most of our athletes are in form so far this season, and that should have been able to, give us the leeway to top the medals log out there in Douala, but we couldn't make it count. So for me, I'm totally not satisfied for playing the third fiddle, like I said earlier. Now, if you take a look at the likes of South Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, even the host country, Cameroon, these are not countries that should be giving us tough time in this kind of competition, especially when it has to do with athletics, because Nigeria boasts one of the best squads in terms of athletics here in Africa, in the shores of Africa. And we should be making that count, especially when we go for such a major tournament or major championship, especially again for the fact that this is more like our neighboring country here, talking about Cameroon. The proximity is not that far, so we should have been able to use it as maybe more like, say, that we are participating away from home, but at home as well, because of the proximity of the place where the championship was taking place. So for me, I am not totally satisfied. We need to do a lot. We need to show capacity. We need to show the rest of Africans that indeed we are the giant of Africa in terms of athletics, in terms of sporting activity, in every facet of the sporting world. We need to demonstrate that capacity to the rest of African countries, to tell them that indeed we truly represent the nomenclature which we bear, that is the African giant. So for me, I'm not totally satisfied.
All right, let's see how far. I hope that Team Nigeria will continue to blaze on subsequently, but Kenya and rank behind Kenya and South Africa, it looks like it's something we need to really go back and rejig the system and see how far we can move. Let's move to the next story now. And of course, we have other interesting matters. Still in athletics, the technical director of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, Samuel Onekuku, has confirmed that some athletes who fail to compete at the ongoing Senior African Championship in Cameroon will be sanctioned if they are guilty. Some Nigerian athletes refused to compete in the African Athletics in Douala, and the federation frowned at the development. Onekuku, while speaking to Newsman, stated that the process is on, and also said the athletes will be given a free hearing. I'm just wondering why some athletes will not compete. Could this be as a result of the complaint they made earlier when they got to Cameroon?
Yeah, I think the reason is very simple. This championship is tagged as one of the worst organized championship in the history of this very championship out there, because not just Nigerian athletes complain a lot about how disorganized, disjointed, the championship went. Even the host country as well, talking about Cameroon, some of their athletes as well also complain about poor facility, poor organizational structure. So not just Nigerian athletes are pulled out. Many other athletes as well are coming in from different countries here in Africa also, pulled out of this very one, citing poor organization of, the championship. And like I said earlier, from all indication and from all reports, this is the worst, one of the worst, competition in the history of this African championship there. So for me, I think they should take a total review of, this complaint that was lodged by the Nigerian athlete before taking up a drastic action or taking up or lifting the hammer against some of the athletes that, pulled out of this very one. Because if the track are not okay, then it puts the athletes in danger of sustaining injury, of course. And for me, we just have a few days before the Paris Olympic game officially kicks off, and most of these athletes, they are treading with caution about the way they go about taking part in this very one, so that you don't get yourself injured and you miss out of one of the biggest sporting activity around the globe, which is the Paris Olympic Games. So for me, I think a proper evaluation need to be taken by the Nigerian Athletic Federation before lifting up the hammer against some of these athletes that pulled out of it. Because like I said earlier, it's not just Nigerian athletes alone that pulled out of the competition, but other African countries and their athletes as well cited the reasons why they pulled out of this very one. So proper evaluation must be taken before any action against them.
A proper evaluation must be taken before any action against them. You're still tuned in. Of course, if you are over there, you are viewing live a sports show here on Atlantic Television Network. I did inform you earlier that I will be joined by one of the legendary sports journalists in this part of the world, and today we'll have the pleasure of hosting, and also making his debut is legendary Mitchell Obi. He's a renowned sports pundit, a presenter. All the names that comes attached with a man so ranked like him, comes in this morning. Mr. Mitchell, good morning and welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network.
Hi, it's the waves this morning in Atlantic Television. I hope the waves are really calming down, because the weather is very good here in Lagos. It's been raining in the last 3 days, but this morning the signs are very good. I can feel the sun trying to rise. I don't know whether it will last for long. But it's a good time, no doubt, Temple.
Very well, Mr. Mitchell. I mean, so lovely having you here in Port Harcourt. I can tell you that in the studios of Atlantic Television Network, we have, in fact, we slept well because the environment is cozy. And you know how when you wake up on a cozy morning, a lot can be said. And that brings us to the latest. And so far, it's been a wonderful time. But before we delve into what we have, you are the former president of AIPS, and take us through how the journey has been, first of all, so that we'll know where to start from.
That will consume all your time. I spent 18 years as a member of the executive committee of the International Sports Press Association, which is AIPS, an acronym from the French word Association Internationale de la Presse Sportive. And I was president for 10 years, lucky 10 years, 2013, and I called it a day in 2019. 2021. That was in Dakar. And I have a Senegalese who took over. So I have done my bit. It's been a labor of love. And more than anything else, at least the Nigerian sporting firmament is fully involved and fully abreast of what is happening globally. And the AIPS, you know, is an association that is 100 years next month, July 2nd, which is the International Day of the Sports Press. It will also mark the birthday of AIPS. Will be 100 years old. We'll be celebrating this centenary. Interestingly, in Paris, that was where the first executive committee meeting took place, right inside a boxing ring, and it was deliberate to show you that sports journalists and journalists generally will be fighting consistently for not only their independence of thought and expression, but also for the freedom to express themselves and do that without let or hindrance. But the most important part is forming a community of sports journalists across the globe where they can exchange their thoughts, exchange, rub minds, and of course, come with a position that will make sports clean. And to keep a clean sport is not that easy. And when we talk clean sports, we're talking about sports free from doping, sports free from match fixing, sports free from violence, sports free from all the cankerworm that affects society and that creeps into sports. And beyond all of that is the beauty of ensuring that we have access to the sports. These days, it's difficult even to talk to sportsmen. They want to use the X, they want to use the Instagram to giving us prepared statements. You hardly get to have a direct chat with sportsmen because of agents, managers, and the world is changing, but the business has not changed. The methodology is the same. Perhaps the platform has also changed, but as a professional, there is also a way. The what we call the modus vivendi has remained the same. So technology has helped us, but technology is also crazy. We talk about the global village. There is also the global damage, where everyone has access to the audience and everyone thinks he can become a journalist. But many are called, as they say, few are chosen. Temple.
You know, poetic lines. I fall in love with them, especially, you know, the way you blend your literal skills and your, you know, oral intonations to help build up to a story. But beyond all this, let's come back home now. And I know for sure that you have a strong penchant for the development of sports in Nigeria, and generally, the athletics, you know, I mean, the championship in Douala just came to an end. I'm sure you've been following up. Some have picked the ticket, some failed to pick the ticket. Your general view on what is happening around non-football sports, especially in the year of the Paris Olympics?
Yes, I heard your colleague in the studio there talk about the sham that was the Senior Athletics Championship in Douala. And to think that that is the home country of the president of the Confederation of African Athletics really makes it more disappointing. You will have thought that if my very good friend Kaba, a general, could host that kind of a championship, then something definitely is not wrong, is not right with African athletics. Even the status gone. Let's not even go into some of the things that happened apart from the fact that some of the stars really didn't find the opportunity to shine. Indeed, the environment was not even good for them to even show us exactly what they have. But Ghana will take it up in 2026. We hope the Ghanaians will also match the expectation. They hosted the Africa Games, and they believe that the facilities they have there can really match with the demands of athletics. But the Senior Athletics Championship, what did we have? Really not. I don't think it compared effectively with what we had in Benin, the Nigeria Olympic trial.
True.
First, the crowd was missing. Of course, you know, Cameroonians they are passionate about football than anything else. They are gradually, even though they've had gold medals in the Olympics from the jumps, but these are athletes who were based outside the country. They made their mark, and so. But you expect more than what they gave. And Douala is a sporting city, no doubt. Although more football than you can get in athletics. Let's see what Ghana will give. That's of yesterday, but they didn't really live up to expectation. That's the truth. And African athletics can do better than that. Just like we insist that our Africa Games should be the toast, should be a mini Olympics. But those who own those games don't want to expand the dimensions. They don't want to carry it to a level where it becomes an Olympic qualifier. There you can be sure the big stars, the stars who attract the eyeballs can be present. And in that direction, you can now start talking of very fitting sponsorship. You can even start talking about the crowd. You can imagine holding an athletics championship in Nairobi and you don't get the crowds. That is where athletics or Addis Ababa. They come in their numbers to watch their own.
That's true.
And I think it's time we start getting in that direction. So let's leave the dregs of Douala with those who deal with mediocrity.
Okay, good to know. But I'm just wondering why the athletics body, in Africa, will, for in Europe, what they do is center it into areas where they have the capacity to host. It doesn't matter whether they are the ones just hosting. If South Africa, if Kenya, like you mentioned, are good enough, continue to give them the bidding right to host until others, get to the level. But I don't know. I'm just thinking.
There must be an incentive to host. You not just host for the sake of hosting. These days, sports has become a veritable tool for not only bringing the benefits of tourism, but also adding to the GDP of every country. And you host because you think it's a viable option. You don't just throw money. It's not charity. You're not opening a hospital for the wretched. So if you want to host, you first see how the environment will give you the full benefits. You look at the benefit. If you are not even looking at the touristic dimension, you're looking at the developmental direction of how you can use the event to fast track attention to the sports. That reminds me because sports is, if you remember, is a veritable enabler, and it's not just me saying this. I'm talking about far back in 2016, the United Nations, part of the Sustainable Development Goals. They said sports is that viable catalyst that can enable countries, match or meet the Sustainable Development Goals. And for me, that is the vision, how we can align sports to all areas of our endeavor, not only just as entertainment, but also as a development tool. And many people have not taken into consideration that dimension. When you look at Qatar, you look at Morocco, you ask yourself, even Saudi Arabia is getting into they have all re-engineered their vision, their national vision around sports, using sports to become that englobing element which propels their thinking of how their society should be framed up. Qatar has done a superb business of it. You remember the first time Qatar hosted a major event, 1995, when we were denied the opportunity to host the Under-20 World Cup, and they took to Qatar. Then they had only what looked like an airstrip. Today, if you go to Qatar, you're talking about a country that has used not only these God's given wealth effectively, but also has turned around sports. and they are using sports as the tool to sell Qatar. That's how it should be. Nigeria can do more than that.
Nigeria can do more than that, truly. And Mike, before we go on a short break, you heard what the legend himself is saying. We need to be very intentional about sports, and that's why I started by bringing in sport before we talk about football, because I mean the holistic development of sports will engender development and of course tourist attraction, and then also impute and bring back funding to the system. We cry about funds, but sometimes if we don't check the list, it can be damaging, in terms of generational sports.
Definitely, I think spot on from the veteran himself. I think anytime I listen to him, I go back in memory lane when I was still, in secondary school back then in Lagos, in GSS1 to be precise. Listening to him, talking about sports, I mean, he made me fell in love with sport generally. Talking about Mitchell Obi, the veteran himself, and somebody like Dr. Larry Zamoje. These were the two, guns then. Also, for me, going back to what he said, like I said, it's very, very spot on. Sports, like he said, is a very, very veritable tool in, building a very viable society. I mean, it cut across all corners. It's not just about hosting for the hosting sake, but it's also unites the people. It also bring, tourism. It also open up, and it's also another avenue of unearthing talent. And these are the things that, we must also put in consideration before giving a hosting right to any country. You don't just give them at a platter of gold just because you want them to host it. No. They must meet the standard, they must meet the criteria. Facilities, top-notch one must be in place before you can be able to host this kind of massive, championship, so that it doesn't look as though it is a child's play. Just like the far cry we heard from these so many athletes out there complaining about the organizational structure, about poor facilities. I mean, it's not befitting for a country such as Cameroon. They need to do a lot, and the the African Athletic Federation need to also do a thorough job before awarding any hosting rights to any country out there. It's not about, maybe you have somebody, a big name in quotes within the system, and because of that you say, okay, let us give them the hosting right. No, it should be about you meeting up with a standard, the required standard, before you can be entrusted for such a massive championship to be hosted.
Very well then, the Big Boss Mitchell, we'll go on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League, and we're going to dwell extensively on that particular one. Let's go on a quick break. It's still Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and I have Mike here, and of course we have the legend himself, Mitchell Obi, on the other side via the Zoom platform to discuss issues. Now let's talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League. It's no longer news that Enugu Rangers are the new champions of the Nigeria Premier Football League. Mitchell, I'm sure you saw that played out, a few days ago. And on Monday, it was parade galore, there in Enugu, where the Enugu Rangers are the reigning champions. Let me get your general overview. Were you surprised at the start of the Nigeria Premier Football League season? Were you surprised that we're going to have a 38-game run successfully and ended completely? Were you surprised, or you were skeptical that we may not end it just like we've seen in other years?
let me thank you for at least focusing on our own, and that has been perhaps an issue with our colleagues. They take joy in reeling out names, facts, and building up events which are very far away from them, which neither bring any benefit to them nor they even get value. And I want to believe that if we have our sporting media in Nigeria focusing on Nigerian sports and doing the right things, we'll have a different landscape. We'll have a place where the young ones will want to harvest the best of their talents and get the necessary value that come with such indulgence. But the Nigerian Premier Football League ended in style, and I'm excited that the long march to our consolidation of the home game is beginning to ring loud all over. And even Rangers did not expect that they will win the title. I had my very young brother, Isaac Wambobi, the COO or the general manager of Rangers, and of course a player. He was their captain in their last game against Gombe. I wonder what energy he has. When I spoke with him, that was after the break, first half of the league. He said Rangers were in this just to see how far they could improve on their strategic plan, how they could strengthen the brand Rangers, which has been a brand of heritage. And they had a new coach who was doing the right things, but they were not thinking about the title. But we are told that the players themselves at a certain point in time said, look, we could do this, we could go for it. And from almost the 12th position, if you look at where Rangers were, they went on. And it's a good spirit to say, never say die, the way Rangers will tell you. But it's not all about Rangers. It's all about the excitement. At one point in time of this league, we had teams from the north holding the top grip, from Doma to to Lobby Stars. They were almost on a cruise, and Plateau United. And suddenly, as they say, water found its level, and we saw the old names bouncing back.
Exactly.
Rangers, Eimba, even Shooting Stars. They started twinkling. That was the joy of this league. From nowhere, Shooting Stars started twinkling, and they were close to it. Even on the last day, up to the 75th minute, they were still hoping they could pick a continental ticket when the result was expected from Aba, Eimba, Plateau United. I was there inside the Lekon Salami Stadium, and every 5 minutes the crowd will hail, thinking it was their day because they were leading Sporting Lagos, another good team that went down just like Doma. Two privately owned clubs going down. But as I say, it is not the fact of going down, it's the fact of knowing that when you go down, you can rise. And so you don't stay down to play with the sand. You rise, you look up and hope that you will be there. And so our thoughts go to the teams that were relegated. Even my own Heartland, a team with such deep richness of heritage. A team I took to the finals of the CAF Champions League in 2009. If you remember.
I remember
we
very
lost
well.
It on away goals. We lost it on away goals. I was a member of the leadership team of the Champions League committee. And we took Heartland to the final and lost to Tepe Mazembe, 2% to Mazembe. We won the first game in Owerri without the governor. Can you imagine a governor not being present during the final? And then went to Lubumbashi, and they came with the presidential jet to carry the cup, and I was laughing at them. I said, you don't carry trophies from this place. It was 2-2 where they won on the away goals, and that's one issue too for African football, the away goals. Just like we thought we could do it like Europe, playing one final, but we've seen that Africa is different. We've gone back to home and away finals. So our Nigerian league, back to it. Yes, it's a joy to see the teams that will be representing us. Remo Stars have been consistent in the last 3 seasons, and they were close to the title, which is good. The model of development which our very good brother Kunle Sulami has put in place there shows what to do when you want to be involved in the football business. And it's not just Remo Stars. Beyond Limits gain promotion. Won the NNL
Exactly.
from the same stable.
And Mitchell,
So,
I'm thinking how he's going to combine the both, you know, managing Remo Stars and also funding Beyond Limits. Has that happened before? Is there any history attached to such?
Just a matter of time, he will take a decision. maybe some of us will come to buy that space. So let him become a placeholder, like in the same politics. At the appropriate time, we'll come to look at it. But I think we have to praise all those who made the league such a wonderful delight. It's such a spectacle all around. And now the issue is centered on whether we need to go the whole hog again. If you look at the infrastructural problems, the roads, the economy, the depressed or distressed economy, you want to think that it's a very, very expensive venture to go for a comprehensive league. And sometimes fatigue comes in and you don't get the real energy. And so there's a school that is thinking about a conference league like we have in basketball.
Okay.
A conference league, and that could be just the turning point for Nigerian game. We wait, but this is the time to take such a decision so that we align with the global calendar. Now that we've finished in time, we should also start in time, and so the players can also think like their colleagues elsewhere. And when it comes to the transfer season, they too can also start dreaming. The good thing is that the league itself, the officiating, remuneration for officiating has been taken by a partner, GTI Group. We hope they sustain it. Now we need to scrutinize the quality of officiating. If you fail to deliver, you should be stepped down, and not only stepped down. If it goes beyond just your technical performance. If you are found wanting, why not? If people see you taking bribe, EFCC or the security should come. We need to be very, very strict about the quality of officiating. Why not? Some countries have gone for professional referees. Maybe we'll start looking ahead, a matter of time. When you know it's your profession, you can't afford to compromise your integrity, and you can't afford not to show capacity all around, because you have to really get yourself ready to become a professional. But the league this year was a revelation in terms that we could do it. I was asking myself, where did this crowd come from? You saw the game against Rangers.
I was about coming to that. But now that you have taken it up, move on with it.
Where are these Nigerians? Where did they come from? I was asking myself, pinching myself, asking, you mean we have Nigerians who could fill up a stadium? What was the capacity they were given? A stadium of 26,000 or something? And they said there were about 70,000 people flowing from all directions. And many of them didn't care about television, because that game was live on television, on StarTimes. They would have gone there to watch it, but they wanted to be in the stadium to see it. Even with the stewards prepared by Rangers, it didn't happen. Right? Now we were looking for the crowd. The song has changed. Now we are singing, how do we manage the crowd? Can you beat that? It's just one season.
and that's the thing.
So,
the time will not avail us, but subsequently, when we bring you on, we'll talk about the postseason and what to be done. But like you are saying, I think that it's truly a revelation. And another revelation is, getting to see the renewal of penchant you know, from the fans. And I'm asking, is it about the clubs? What about those clubs who are still fighting for, like, for example, Rivers United? I mean, these former champions recently.
You guys in Port Harcourt, something. I think we need how will I call it? Is it an inquiry or a probe into why you guys don't want to come out in your... Even when you bring... I don't know whether you bring Messi and Ronaldo combined to bring out the crowd in the Garden City. It is sometimes disturbing.
It is.
That you have empty stands when you have your own united team, not just a team, a united team. The best of Dolphin and Sharks. They are playing. You have to go and hire buses to bring them. I don't understand. Even when you bring music stars, you guys, I don't know your appetite in Rivers there. Is it that you eat good fish and you forget that fish itself?
Maybe, just maybe, the administrators have not, like you talk about the Ziaco and the strategy. When the right strategies are in place, I'm sure that we're going to get the fans. Like what we're seeing in Lagos. If Sporting Lagos can have this strong penchant, fans can come in. I don't see anything different here. I just think that we have not applied the strategy. Okay,
you need a very good strategic plan, as the Japanese line for Toyota used to say. Good thinking, good product.
Lastly, before we let you go, Mr. Mitchell, of course, also, does take us through the... I mean, I'm sure that time is already out today. Maybe next afternoon we'll focus on the Super Eagles. What can be done to, you know, recreate our name at the continental level? You talked about Heartland with defeat some time ago, Imba. What can be done? The likes of Remo Stars, the winner of the FA Cup this weekend, as well as Enugu Rangers and the Imba, will all be representing us. What can be done to change the narrative that we've seen in recent years?
that would make me go back to my library, because I did a piece far back in 1995, how to win the CAF Champions League. And as fate will have it, we helped Eimba. We gave them the sponsorship that won the first ever Champions League. So there are certain things that need to be done. And I'm happy that they are thinking in that direction. First is the recruitment of players. Once you have the end of the season and you have teams going for continental assignment, players get excited, especially the players who perform creditably. They know that they can be signed on. But I think first is the recruitment level. We have to improve on the recruitment level. Of course, the manpower inventory of the technical bench has to be upgraded, and the money, you need good money, because if you win the CAF Champions League, you are looking at the prize money of $4 million. It should go up at least with Patrice Motsepe, the CAF president. And so if you imagine that if you get at least to the semi-final, you can be thinking about $1 million or $2 million. You can always use that as a collateral to borrow, a collateral on expectation
yeah.
to borrow and prepare the team. I think, and the government need to show extra commitment. Governments are stakeholders. I don't encourage government to be involved with running of the clubs. The Rangers example, make it a corporation, give professionals to run it, and then they have their seed money there. They go take it and ensure that that money is there. And of course, they can even take the money in advance, put it somewhere, invest it somewhere, and they have returns and run the club profitably. At the end of the day, it's the government that profits, and the people also take joy in it. So I think we have teams now that are tested, teams that can make a difference. But you can never be sure with African football. It always defies logic.
Of course, we've learned so much. Time is not our friend, Mike. But from all the legend himself has said, it looks like we still have a lot to talk about, because it's one thing to have a successful season. If the mark of success is on the indices we have seen, some of the highlights he has talked about, then we need to do a review, a post review of the season and look at the board, which subsequently we're going to bring him, you know, maybe, I don't think it will be long, the boss. We'll bring you back so I will talk about post-season and then look at the Super.
Next time you get for my time, you know what it takes.
Hey, definitely, definitely.
Tell them in Atlantic that they should be getting their check ready.
No, they will because we're going to use this as major publicity for next time. And Mike, just one word, you know, for Mika in reaction to some of the things he has said.
I think magnificent. He has almost said it all when he talked about the organizational structure of the league, how it has improved. He also talked about the fact that look as though the fans, we are beginning to go back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, where fans throng out in their numbers to the stadium to cheer their darling team to victory. I think we are beginning to rekindle that you know, momentum again. But then we need to build on this gain come next season going forward. And for most of the club here, especially in the South region, like you say, it seems look as though they have eaten fish and forget to do the needful. Take a look at teams like Aqua United, Calabar Rovers when they were still there, Rivers United, Bayelsa. These are the teams found within the South region. But then you talk about the fans attendance. It's very, very poor. At some point, the outgone coach of Rivers United, he said that Rivers United, they are like an orphan whenever they are playing at home because the stadium is always deserted. So even playing at home, throw the stadium open, talking about their Dokia Emaka Stadium. Yet you can still find fans coming out in their numbers. And I know there are so many factors leading to that. The proximity of the stadium is something very... When they were playing at Alekaya there, which is the center of the metropole, you find it very easy to go out there. But now, looking at the economic situation, people living at the main metropole, you think about coughing out 2,000 to pay the transportation fare down to, you know, stadium, I mean... airport, yeah, to watch it. So
no, why March days, make an arrangement with the state government. On March days, you have specific buses that ply that route.
Exactly.
It's something that can be done.
Very well.
I understand that argument. They've given me that argument many times. That is on the area
Aspect.
you have, but it's very close to the airport.
That's correct.
So you can kill two birds with one stone. While you are putting a fast track to the stadium, we are also putting a fast track to the airport. So even with your former governor, we had cause to discuss this issue and why the rail line cannot even come towards that stadium if you want to really develop it. After all, take a look at some of the beautiful stadia across the globe, from the Bernabeu to Wembley. All of them are connected by rail. Fans just stroll from train, they jump into the stadium. That's how to really get the people involved. It's not about the distance. Most stadiums now are built on the outskirts. Look at Dakar. When they hosted the Nations Cup in 1992, we were thinking that stadium was in the bush. If you go there now, you ask yourself, where is this? It's all developed. So there must be a deliberate, intentional plan to, you know, get that stadium functional.
Okay.
And one of it is create a fast route to it. If you cannot create a fast route, provide the means to it. If people know that on match days you can go and get buses at certain places all across the city to watch your games, subsidized buses, they will join. And they know that they are coming back with these same buses. Why not? It's all, and that area can open up.
Agree.
Yes.
Agree. Many thanks to you, the big boss, Mitchell Obi. Of course, I remember, I mean, this is not time to eulogize, but I'm sure that in the next episode we're going to have you. We're going to really eulogize, and maybe I have some picture clips of, you know, because it's an honor to always have a legend like you with us. And Pat, that day we're going to do a Mama celebration here in the studios because it's rare to have someone like you. Always a delight and a pleasure to host you.
You are part of the community of sports journalists, and any day, anytime, we are together. Together we go far, as they say in that African idiom. And so I want to appreciate you guys also, and wish the good team in Atlantic. You build new and fresh waves that will carry you to a good, appreciable dimension. So we'll see. As they say, nothing succeeds like success, and that's what you have in the Nigerian Premier League.
Ça va. Thank you so much. Many thanks to you, Mike, for also
Ça va
being...
bien. I chanté, mon frère.
All right, so that will be all this morning on Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. It's been a wonderful time with our legendary Michelle Obi, who joins us this morning to look at some issues, from the local scene here, which is very important to us on Atlantic Television. We are very indigenous. I will look at training studio, how to engender the development of sports. Mike also joins us. Ekpo Temple is my name. Let's do this again tomorrow morning, same time, 7 to 8 a.m. here. And of course, we'll be back later this evening, 6 to 7, to wrap up Sports Extraordinary. Until then, still locked here on Atlantic Television Network. Bye-bye.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.